Welcome to The Explainer, everyone. Today we're diving into something absolutely crucial and honestly, a bit deeply introspective. We're looking at concepts from beyond the daily struggle, specifically focusing on this beautiful idea of mastering the sacred rhythm. You know, conscious pacing isn't a sign of weakness. Literally, no way. It is actually your ultimate act of self-preservation. So if you're ready to just break free from all that noise and step into a rhythm that actually sustains you, let's dive right in.
So, consider this. We live in a world that treats speed as a virtue and exhaustion as some kind of badge of honor. Let's just validate that exhaustion for a second, okay? From the literal moment we wake up, there's this invisible, relentless pressure. A pressure to push harder, move faster, and somehow outrun our own exhaustion. It's totally ingrained in us to constantly be in motion, to constantly be producing. Honestly, it's exhausting just thinking about it, right?
Well, that brings us to a pretty heavy, grounding question. What happens when your body, or your soul really, simply cannot keep up with that frantic pace? Today, we're completely reframing how we look at pacing. We've got to stop looking at slowing down as a limitation. Instead, we're going to learn how conscious pacing is actually the ultimate form of mastery.
Section 1. The trap. The illusion of more.
So here's the thing. We've been deeply conditioned to believe that our worth is tied directly to our output. We end up treating limited energy like it's a manufacturing defect, something we can just override with a third cup of coffee or by keeping 50 tabs open in our brains. But trying to match a frantic societal pace when your internal battery is literally flashing red, that leads to what's called spiritual bankruptcy. The source material describes this so powerfully, it calls it the violence of forcing a high-speed output on a low-energy day. Think about that specific word for a second. Violence. Forcing productivity when we're completely empty isn't being productive, it's practically a violent act against our own well-being. So, what's the solution here? Well, you have to stop apologizing for your boundaries. Seriously. True daily energetic mastery only begins when you stop viewing your limited energy as a flaw. Instead, you need to start honoring those boundaries as a sacred commitment to yourself. It's a total paradigm shift. You go from seeing rest as a failure to seeing boundaries as an absolute foundational requirement for your life. Moving on to part 2, the reframe, the sacred rhythm. Now, as we shift away from all that frantic energy, we really need to understand a totally new metric, and that is inner voltage. Think of this as your internal energetic frequency. Conscious pacing isn't about doing less because you're weak. It actually requires moving from a mindset of lack to a mindset of deliberate choice. It's a slower, highly intentional rhythm designed specifically to preserve your inner light, and you protect it by consciously choosing presence over productivity. Let's compare these two paradigms side by side. On one hand, you've got the societal pace. It's frantic, entirely tied to what you output, and honestly, it inevitably leads straight to burnout and spiritual bankruptcy. But on the other hand, that's the sacred rhythm. It's deliberate. It actively preserves your inner light. And by choosing this rhythm, you actually elevate your frequency. You shift from just merely surviving to truly mastering your pace. You elevate your entire way of being just by stepping out of that whole hustle culture. Section 3, the application, shifting your frequency. Okay, so the source material gives us a pretty brilliant, actionable roadmap for honoring these new boundaries. There are 3 essential keys here. Listen to the first whisper, reclaim the pause, and protect your morning alignment. By mastering these 3 things, you stop just reacting to the chaotic world around you, and you actually start creating your own atmosphere. Let's break these down a bit. First up, listen to the first whisper. Whatever you do, don't wait for the scream of a burnout. Your body is always communicating with you, telling you when it's reaching its limit. The problem is, we are practically trained to ignore those whispers and just push through until our body literally forces us to stop. Mastering your pace means tuning in early. Now, this next concept completely destroys the guilt we tend to feel about resting. It says a pause isn't wasted time. It is the blank canvas that allows the rest of your day to have meaning. Man, what a stunning metaphor. We absolutely have to reclaim the pause. A moment of rest is not some void where productivity goes to die. It's actually the very foundation that makes any intentional action possible in the first place. And the third step, anchor yourself in stillness before the world tells you who to be. This is all about protecting your morning alignment. Before you check your phone, before you answer a single email, before all the demands of society rush in, you must anchor yourself. Setting your frequency early in the day is exactly how you protect your inner voltage, right from the very start. Part 4, the outro. Evolution of self-respect. Reclaim your sacred rhythm, because healing isn't a race. Living intentionally with limited energy isn't a failure. Actually, scratch that. It is the ultimate evolution of self-respect. Honoring your rhythm transforms you. You go from being a person who is constantly drained by relentless demands to someone who is firmly, unshakably anchored in peace. So I want to leave you with this final thought. Where are you ready to reclaim your pause? Think about your own life for a second. Where are you pushing a bit too hard? Where are you forcing a high-speed output on a low-energy day? I really invite you to reflect on this today. Protect your peace, honor your rhythm, and remember, you have the power to create your own atmosphere. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.